AM2R, short for another Metroid 2 remake. This was a fan project that was finally completed and available through the website, through its own website, in 2016. I would say that the time it was available was actually 2 weeks, because it was not a licensed Nintendo product, and Nintendo is very, very protective of their intellectual property. So they had to shut down. I have no doubt that there are more places to find it. I wouldn't know. I don't go looking for them, as I already had the copy of the game. But as I said, this was a fan recreation of Metroid 2 Return of Samus. And that game does have a special place in my heart. It's the first Metroid game I ever played, and it was for the Game Boy. So when I heard about this project, when it was completed, or it was coming close to completion, I made sure I got a copy of it. Now, the person that did this did it in the style of Super Metroid. But you don't have all the fun tools and toys you have in Super Metroid. You don't have the grapple beam, which is a slight shame, as it's quite a handy tool, but I think that was only in Super Metroid. The grapple beam was only in Super Metroid and the Prime series. But what this guy did is he took the time to study every level and put it in a 3D environment. Not 3D, but in the 16 to 32-bit environment that was Super Metroid. Which is remarkable because the original was on Game Boy, which meant it had a grayscale type color scheme. Now, I would not doubt that he used some inspiration for the character designs and behaviors from other Metroid games. But this was so faithful. It was beautifully done. You could follow the game just like you were playing Metroid 2, as certain items were only available as you progressed through the game. And certain Metroids were only found in certain areas as you progressed. However, he did add some things which I think helped the game. Added some new sectors where you could get certain weapons. Now, again, due to limitations of the Game Boy, you could only hold one weapon at a time. But since the coming of the Super Nintendo, it was possible to have all weapons active at once. Same was for, other games in the franchise. Well, you could switch between the weapons. You still had them all equipped. You didn't have to refine something to get them. You wanted to switch weapons in Metroid 2, you actually had to find the weapon again. The remake also allowed you to use super missiles and power bombs, which again didn't show up until Super Metroid. And they do show up in the in Metroid Zero Mission, which is a remake of the first Metroid. It also added one thing that was definitely not in the original in Metroid 2. It added a timed escape sequence. Now, if you are unfamiliar with this, the Metroid games have been noted for having a timed escape sequence in almost every entry. The sole entry not having this timed escape sequence was Metroid 2, probably due to limitations. So this person added that. He also added some neat little things that, of course, couldn't include with the Game Boy limitations. More boss battles. Some very clever ones. I mean, you also had the speed booster, which was not in Metroid 2. At least, not in the original. I'm drawing blanks on the official remake right now. And to add to it, he also added some extra secret areas. I mean, it's no secret that the main story of Metroid 2 is that a team had gone to survey the planet and found that it had a lot more Metroids on it than they first thought. So Samus was tasked to eliminate them all, viewing them as as they were a threat. Hence, she comes to the planet. She has a log that tells her how many are in each area, as destroying them allows you to advance. Now, as you go through this, you actually get, quote, log reports, logbook entries, which is a very nice entry to this because it allows you to learn more about the area, which was a very good choice. As you move through it, of course, there is a timer on the game. Because in early versions of Metroid, if you could complete the game with all items in a certain time frame, you got a different ending. In later entries, they also unlocked images. Well, in the end, the guy did that as well to this. And as it goes, the series was this game was popular. Fans of the Metroid franchise had been asking for this one to get a remake. I mean, they remade Zero. The first game is Zero Mission, so where's this one? Well, that's what led to the project being shut down when it was fully available. Apparently, Nintendo had been working on Metroid 2 Remake, titling it Samus Returns on the 3DS. which was a plus. Now, they did add things to it. Added new abilities, added new bosses, added the ability to double back even after you rescued the baby Metroid, even when you beat the Queen Metroid. Which, I gotta say this about another Metroid 2 remake. You had to fight the Queen at various points, causing it to charge forward. You had to outrun the charge until it stopped, initiate about 2 or 3 more times, and then, sort of in a note out of Metroid Other M, you had to get in the thing's gullet and power bomb it. This tactic was also used in the remake, in the official remake. So this was a clever choice. Of course, in the end, you rescue the baby Metroid, or you come across the hatchling Metroid, the baby Metroid, which takes a liking to you. And then you leave SR388 with the last Metroid in captivity. Well, that's where that one ends. I mean, you learn things in the game, you gain abilities that were not available in the original, due probably to hardware limitations. I remember saying that when Nintendo shut that down, I said, I hope they do the wise thing and take this guy on, because he was on to something. But literally almost a year later, they released Samus Returns. Now, I will say this, I love each version. And you will hear fans who've played AM2R, played Metroid 2 Samus Returns, and all of them, and they will give praise to what each one did right, slight criticism to what each one did wrong. I mean, even after it was released and all other entries came out, with the exception of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, or Dark Echoes, or whatever you want to call it, no Metroid 2 was the only game that didn't have a Ridley battle. They managed to shoehorn in one with the official remake. Which is a tough battle, but it's decent. I feel it was just shoehorned in there for purposes. And Ridley appears briefly in Other M, but Ridley's dead. Well, no. You fight Ridley in Other M, but you do not kill Ridley. But what another Metroid 2 remake was a fan work of love. I mean, giving it away for free. The work he put in on it, he should have at least, I mean, I understand why he didn't try and get money for it. But it was very well done. Nintendo could have taken a few lessons from it. It's a very, very well done fan made game. I don't know where you could find it now, unless you know somebody who has a copy and is willing to give it to you, or you know where to look. I'm not seeking it out. I have my copy. I'm happy with it. And that's all I am going to say about another Metroid 2 remake. It was fun to play it again for the channel. I invite you to check out that playthrough. And I thank you if you've listened to this. I invite you to give it a like. And next time round, I will be talking about a different game. Have fun, all. Again, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere. Thank you for listening. Bye.